Hey there, fellow citizen of the internet. Welcome to the Moses Kabandana Podcast. Today, I have with me Dena Paduano. I hope I pronounced that right. And welcome to the Moses Kabandana Podcast.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to meet you, and I'm so excited to do this.
Okay, and speaking of excitement, what are we excited to talk about today?
Well, first, I'm going to tell you who I am. My name is Dena Paduano. I'm an intuitive life coach. So what that means is that we all have the gift of intuition, right? I've just tapped into mine further. And so what I do with life coaching is I give you a reading, we build a foundation, and from there, figuring out who you are, where you came from energetically, we figure out what direction you go into, right? And so I feel like right now, the world, so many people are so afraid of the unknown that people are forgetting that they have choices and directions that they can go into. It's almost like everyone's waiting, going, well, what do we do next? And blah, blah, blah. You keep living your life, but in the direction and the things that you need to work on, right?
We'll dive more into that. You touched on energy. So it is a one giant umbrella term that gets thrown around a lot, and so I get lost typically when I hear energy. More because someone can say I just he has such a bad energy, or she has such an interesting energy, or an attracting energy. I get lost because I have like a more analytical mindset. So when I hear energy, I'm like, well, you for sure you're not referring to quantity of photons, right?
No, okay, so you're a
So
literal person.
can you let us
I get
into
that.
what
Okay, so
what that means? Yeah.
let me break it down. And this is the easiest in layman's terms, right? It's like, when let me just give you this crazy thing. When I lived in LA, I would walk into parties, right? And me and my friends, they all know about me. I'd walk into a party, I'd be there less than 5 minutes, and the energy would be off, and my sphincter would get tight. And I'd be like, someone's doing blow, we gotta go. And they're like, what? How do you know? Is your sphincter tight? Oh my God. But when you walk into a room, you can feel if that's your tribe or not. Like, let's say as a black man walking into an all white hillbilly bar, you're going to be like, yeah, those are not my people. That's not my vibe. Unless they're super cool going, hey buddy, like, welcome, right? You walk into rooms of people where everyone gets quiet and you're like, oh, the energy feels off. Everyone carries their own particular energy. So if you think about it, we all come from source, God. God is in all of us. We are an extension of God, right? If God is light, God is everywhere. And so energetically, think about it. Love has an energy. You can tell me how love feels. If you can tell me how sadness feels, it's an energy. It's a feeling. It's an energetic feeling. So if you think about what energy are you contributing to the collective? Are you somebody who complains all the time? Because that comes with an energy. Has nothing to do. You know the type before someone opens their mouth if they're a Karen. You know that that's coming right to you. You're feeling that energetically. Do you understand what I mean? So energetically, we're learning to tune more into, let me learn what you say to me on how you make me feel when we're in a room together, when we're connected. That's energy, right? So when girls go, something fell off, and that's women's intuition, that's also energy. Something fell off. Something wasn't right. The energy didn't feel the same. Or, if you go to your local coffee shop every day and the person who gives you coffee all the time is usually super happy, but today they're off. You're feeling their energy.
In a sense, I do. It's we use energy because we don't necessarily have an all-encompassing term to describe this human feeling when something does not meet, not necessarily an expectation,
Well,
but like you
energy
said, you
is
walk into
under
a
the,
room.
I get it, but energy is under the umbrella of energy is a real thing. It's not a fake thing. It is, like you were saying, photons, this, that. But imagine trying to use that in everyday life of like, hey, your photosynthesis is off and blah, blah, blah.
He's off
Right?
a little.
So it's
Okay,
literally
I
like
hear you.
energetically, it's a feeling we all have, but we've been all told to ignore those feelings. So it's like, don't go inside yourself and love who you are. Do what we tell you to do so you can conform to society and be like we want you to be, right? But if that doesn't feel right to me energetically, that's where you get a lot of young people feeling that they have suicidal ideation or things like that. They're depressed or whatever, because no one is getting them and they're not conforming, and energetically they don't know where they fit.
Yeah, it is a tough balance to find as far as being who you are meant to be, being who you want to be, and conforming to society. And then I say that because to some degree we have to conform to some aspects of society, right? And so it's finding that balance of like how do I fit in the society that I was born in, that I was raised in, but at the same time pursue to the fullest extent who I am. And sometimes those two things can be in conflict. We can get more in.
Right? Let's be honest.
Right.
Sometimes people won't even know that other ways of thinking or living are available because all they've ever done is survive.
Fair. And we can dive more into that later on. So I want to stick with this energy and how it relates to, it might sound like a dumb question, but how it relates to intuition. Is intuition like...
Yes, it's a feeling. So if you think about it,
Okay.
we're all blessed. We're all blessed with intuition. That is when they say women's intuition or my knowing or pattern recognition, whatever it is, we all have this innate sense, this innate feeling. Depending on your trauma, your survival, how you dealt with that trauma, all of that depends on your relationship and how you can even connect with that energy. What if your body is in trauma response and you've been in survival mode for the last 30 years of your life and you don't even know that there should be a mind-body connection, right? There's an energy, I'm going to do whatever it takes to survive in this moment, right? Energetically, and I can't think 20 steps about it because I'm just surviving. So some people don't even get to have this conversation that we're having because all they're doing is surviving.
Right. And so you touched on women's intuition a couple of times. I've never heard of the term men's intuition. I've heard of women's intuition, but I've never heard of it. Yeah.
I haven't, and I'll tell you why. Is I think sometimes, and I don't know the professional reason for it, but I think that women, we tend to go deeper, and a lot of us can be more emotional, and we can be more in tune, hence mothering or, mother-like or auntie quality or maternal quality, right? Women are generally, no, I'm not speaking for all women, but caretakers. So if you think about that, their natural instinct is to take care of their babies, their this, their that. So that's where the women's intuition comes in.
Okay, and you say that to some degree, or to all degrees, we all have intuition and we can tap into it. You went a bit further and you said that you have tapped more into that reservoir of intuition. Can you let us into like what does that mean? How did you tap more into it?
So I have a very well-known godmother back in the day who was very famous in Greece. She was a big person, and she's a psychic. When I was 9, she saw that I was very sensitive. No one knew then that I was autistic, but she saw something different in me, right? And so she was like, I really want you to hone your gifts. And I was like, what gifts? So I used to go to these meditation classes with her. Not with her. She would do these meditation classes, or she would tape me on the phone and she would literally make me listen back of how many times I would do double negatives of like, I would just die if that happened. And oh my God, I'm so broke and blah, blah, blah. And then she would teach me about, if you always say, I'm so broke, you're only ever going to be so broke and so broke. And she taught me about the subconscious and intuition. So then when you're 17 and your mind's open like that and you're neurospicy, I get hyper fixated on things and learning things. And so I intuitively, thankfully had this outlet, right? That she helped me hone in on what I was feeling and to not be afraid to say what I was feeling, to journal, to speak out more for myself. There's so many times when we're so afraid of looking stupid or sounding stupid that we won't say something that comes to our head about somebody in a room because we're like, oh my God, that makes no sense, like that. And so one day we were doing this thing, and Vanessa Williams, the singer, was in this seminar, and we were reading each other back and forth. And I had said to her, and I was like, I know this sounds really stupid, but I was like, I see a bunch of hay and all of these sheep. And in my mind, I'm like, and I know you're Vanessa Williams and you're not going to get any of this. And then I was like, and I see a bunch of sheep, but I see that you're not mad. It's just such a strange thing. And literally she goes, yesterday we were driving on the grapevine, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a herd of sheep came by and stopped us. And we had to sit on bales of hay and watch the sheep go by. Now, that was me trusting my intuition, right? Not being afraid to look silly or stupid. But a lot of us don't get that luxury of being able to practice. So what I would do is I practice with friends. Hey, can we and we just sit and we talk to each other, and I say what's coming to my mind, and they ask questions. And then, you do this for years and years and years. And then of course I'm in talk therapy and for 27 years. And it's just, unfortunately, I have chronic pain and I deal with a lot of medical issues. So I've had to tap into my body and its energy for my health's sake. On top of, when I was young, I was so sensitive. I would cry if the wind blew, right? And finding out now that I had autism, my nervous system from all the trauma I went through was so dysregulated that my body was screaming like, please listen to us. I didn't know what that was. I didn't understand that was intuition. I didn't know what any of that was. So thank God I'm inquisitive and I have questions, and I was like, why does all of this happen, right? And then it turns out anxiety is good for you. It's signaling your body that there's something wrong. You should investigate, right? So intuition, why would they teach us intuition? That gives us our own power to tap into our own system to tell us about us, when if we're looking out and I have to look at you for confirmation if I'm good or if I'm enough or if I'm whatever. So if everyone could learn to tap into their intuition and their own energy, they would realize that not only they're enough, but they could be their own best friend. And loving yourself is one of the most incredible things you could ever do. And I think that getting on podcasts like this and talking like this in a normal way and seeing that it's not a crystal ball lady sitting in a window with her neon sign, trying to do that. It's intuition. They made it bad. It was like a bad word. It's like, oh, that's the devil. That, like, listen, I was a born again Christian. I was Christian, born again Christian, Catholic, like all of it. You name it, I was all of it until 2021. And every answer was go to your priest, go to your pastor, go to God. No one ever said go inside. And so what I've been learning is, once you go inside, dude, I've been going inside for 27 years in my talk therapy. But once I really blew it off about how I believe, what I believe, how all of this works, the relationship with myself is the most important, is what I've learned.
Absolutely.
And they don't teach us that. But we learn that with intuition. You learn that with intuition, because when you learn to listen to your intuition, you go into a room and instead of your mom going, kiss your Uncle Jim, and then her not knowing Uncle Jim's been appropriate, trust your kid's signals to, I don't want to touch that person. I don't want that person near me. I don't want this to happen. I don't want that to. That's intuition, right? So, but we've all been told, behave, be a good little girl, be a good little boy, do this, do that, right? It's always everything outside to confirm that you're enough. Do you see what I'm saying? And so the intuition is to us to take our power back. I don't need you telling me that I'm enough for anything. It's a nice compliment, but you know who needs to believe that I'm enough? Me. Yeah. I'm the one going on that journey. I'm the one going through it. I'm the one talking to me. No one ever taught us how to talk to ourselves. No one ever taught us that, Dena, you have to be your own best friend. So instead of going diet culture, don't get me started, and hello ADHD, I'm all over the place. I'm so sorry, Moses, but diet culture, I find myself till this day from that LA diet culture, from me literally pursuing acting and being told every day, you're too ethnic, you're too fat, you're never going to be a leading lady, you're always going to be this, you're always going to be that. Everything, I went home, I can't tell you how many times I've lost weight, gained weight, cut hair. Like there were times where I would just chop it off. Anything I did, that's one person's opinion. And that would take away everything I believed in myself. I would go on an audition. They'd say, oh, the agent would call back. Well, they think you're a little heavy and maybe if blah, blah, blah. I would take that, and that was the new narrative. I'm not successful because I'm too fat, or I'm not this because no one ever taught me that that's not the truth. But if I knew intuition, and if I had a feeling, and if I was allowed and taught to trust my feelings and my beliefs, the fuck, do you know where we would all be? We would all be rich. But of course, they don't want us to know these things, right? Because then that's empowerment. And when we're empowered and we're tapped into our intuition, right? It's the number one thing to learn is trust the natural intuition. Think of it like this, your body's internal alarm system when something is off. Oh, that doesn't feel right. I got bubble guts. Oh, my sphincter's tight. Something's off. Let me investigate that. Instead of blaming it on, I wonder what I ate. I wonder what I did. How about, what's the environment that you're in? How are the people around you treating you? How do you talk to yourself and others? How do you show up in the world? So will people remember how you treated them, how you made them feel? Because intuitively, it's never occurred to me, like when I moved here, it never occurred to me that I didn't know anyone. Because I walk through life and I think it's a blessing and a gift, and it's nothing anyone taught me. It's just something I've always innately had. It never occurs to me because you're a human and I'm a human and we're all here having the same experience. So if you're in a market and I'm going to talk to you or I'll talk to you on the street, I don't get shy about those things, but it's never occurred to me not to do something because I don't know somebody or I have to wait for somebody, or it's never sat right with me. Wait, why do I have to have your permission to go do what I need to do as a human being and to shine the brightest I can shine? Because of your fears and your conditioning and your anxiety. So now you want me to behave in a way that's going to make you feel better.
Okay, let's bring it back here to. Those are a lot of good nuggets, by the way. And as you were talking, I was writing down all kinds of stuff. And one of the things that I wrote, there's like 3 things that I wrote, but 2 of those are pretty related. The first one is the power of words, our words, and the words of those around us, and how that affects the reality that we live in. Not necessarily how that affects reality, but how we perceive
it affects
reality,
your
right?
reality.
Exactly.
I'm going to get really specific, right?
Yep.
Is that if we're going to be specific, I want you to think of your subconscious as black and white. Okay? Is literally your subconscious doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. So if you are continually, and you're a manifestor, but you're continually somebody who is always like, okay, so I'll give you, for instance, the women who come to me are like, every man I've ever been with cheats on me. So then what I say is that true? Or is it true because that's all you ever say and that's all you ever think? So now it's become a part of who you are. And now it's in your belief system, right? So the people who would always come to me, I'm so broke, I'm always so broke. Those words have a lot of power, right? I don't know where I'm going to get money. I don't know how. Those are all real things. I get it. I didn't know as a kid that you were allowed to still function and do life stuff when you didn't have money. I used to sit paralyzed because that's what my mom did. And if my mom did that, and now I find out that I'm autistic and I mimic or I mask, I just copy that behavior. I didn't know that that's not what you were. So she became those words. She became everything she was afraid of, physically, mentally, all of it. I saw it. And literally, it never occurred to me. Like, you're like, oh, okay, well, now it makes sense. So I practiced it for so long, it's not even in my everyday vernacular of how I speak, right? But yeah, of course, I'll slip sometimes. And sometimes I'll be like, I'm so scared I don't have my rent. Or and then I turn around, I go, transmute that. Rent is coming. It's easy, effortless, abundant, and clear. And then we just keep refixing it. It's so important. It sounds silly. It's super crazy. But if you look at all the people that you know that are successful and happy and present, I want you to listen to how they speak to themselves and others. Because energetically, you can feel people's tribe, and you can feel the support people have for people that they love.
Right. It is really important to speak positivity into your own life, for sure, but at the same time speak positivity into other people's lives. And you kind of quickly glanced over this, but so I want to get back into, or maybe you skipped over this topic, which you were talking about, like the self, right? You don't need permission in order from someone or from society in order for you to live a certain lifestyle. So as we're talking about the self, can you touch on the role of forgiving one's self? Right? Like, is that even a thing that crosses the minds of people?
So if Dena, my world was cracked open in 2021, someone gifted me a healing session, and this lady was talking to me about God or like whatever, right? After I had my awakening and I started realizing things, I wanted to go back to the old gaslighting self of, you wasted so much fucking time. Oh my God, I can't fucking believe you put us through that. Like, I wanted to do that. And then I was listening to a book or a podcast, and they had said, put a picture of yourself as a child on your phone when you're a kid. So then what I learn is when I'm looking at the screensaver and I'm going to talk to somebody or someone else, I'm like, would I talk to her that way? Would I represent her that way? Is that going to make her feel safer, or is it going to make her feel scared? So then what I've had to learn to do, it's called shadow work. And the shadow work is really about the parts of us that we don't want to show, right? It's like my insecure part, my insecure about being heavy part, my toxic traits, whatever that's the work you have to do. And you have to allow yourself to experience those things while showing up for yourself and not judging yourself, right? But we've always been taught to not feel emotions. You don't want to be that way. You don't want to be that way. You don't want, so everyone just shuts down. What if we were allowed to feel and then realize, wait, I feel super angry and I'm super anxious right now. I'm super pissed at that person. And then I allow the piss to go through. And then I breathe and then I think about it. And then I'm like, is it really everything that you're making it out to be? Is it really such a big deal? And then the one that I love that changes it for me for everything, it's not a big deal unless you make it a big deal. And that's where you start to find the power, is like you automatically assume. So like this morning, I texted the landlord about the toilet and I sent a video of the water just leaking. And I'm like, dude, someone needs to get here. Like, oh my God. Yeah, well, you need to call the plumber. It's not my effing, but I stopped myself. And I was like, okay, he's just assuming I'm going to be like everyone else. What do you want the finished result to be? I want the plumber to come. That's all I want. So I shut down my ego and I said, don't pull out the big guns. Don't act like you're better than. Don't be like, oh, a sense of entitlement. How can we rectify this soon? It's because I'm a little concerned about the water bill and losing of all the water. Blah, blah, blah. I left it alone. Then, I don't know, 10 minutes later, he texts me, the plumber says he can come by tonight. Now, that was very different from the response I got that says, I don't know, call the plumber. Dude, it's your apartment, right? But when I let it alone, I decided in my head how I wanted it to work out. That's control. I get to control how I react to him. But people go, he made me so mad. Well, he did make you mad, but it's your choice in how you respond to him. Right? So,
Yep.
yeah, but no, you don't understand. I get it. Believe me, I'm tired of, I told my therapist, I said, it is lonely at the top. He goes, imagine how I feel. And he's 88, right? And I won't let him quit. Like, he's amazing. But to stay above and out of, it doesn't mean I'm above you, but to stay out of, I'm going to call it matrix thinking, right? Of the collective, of like, it literally, you know what I'm pissed about? I'm pissed that I got so sucked into consumerism and capitalism. How do I forgive myself about that? I look around with all of the shit and I'm like, girl, you didn't know any better. Like, no one taught you. No one ever taught us in California or United States. It wasn't about having more. No one ever said to us, hey, by the way, you're going to go get an education and everything to have deeper and more meaningful relationships with self and others. No, it was about getting a nice car, getting a house, then getting a bigger house to hold your more stuff, to getting more what's the end goal? It's the consumerism, right? So then being thrown from that into Rome, I feel like I moved back to 1975. That was in 2011. And then now living where I live, I'm like, oh shit. That's the only way Dena probably would have been able to see this, was to be on the outside looking in. So you get perspective when you get outside of it, right? And because I'm not on that treadmill now every day and I'm not trying to keep up with it, and then my ailments with my physical stuff have slowed me down, the universe is like, there's more to life than all of this stuff.
Absolutely. I always like to think of it in terms of degrees. So if someone makes me mad for X reason, I think in terms of, okay, to what degree did I play a role in
There we go.
in this?
That's amazing.
So like what's my half of it, right? Or my 2%, my 1%, what's my part? And then can I manage that part? If no, then continue to get angry. It's no longer useful. But if I can do something about my part, then I have something to work with.
With this, instead of just trying to manage it, I think the number one goal would be to figure out why it keeps irritating you. So like, why when somebody comes and they put the same shirt on you, do you get so itchy? That's what you have to figure out, is what's on this shirt that's making you itchy. Because even if you let it go with this person, until you figure out where it started, it's going to keep itching. Do you see? So when we say dealing with it, again, I'm using words and I'm a literal person and you're an analytical person, right? If we're using words, what I'm saying is dealing with is very different than nurturing a relationship with oneself. I'm going to have a conversation with myself. I'm going to talk to myself and I'm going to understand where I'm coming from without judging her and asking her why. Why does she keep getting so mad? You know what? I'll give it for instance. Today with the landlord, I'm so sick of, and it's not just him, it's everyone. And I was doing a video about this yesterday. I'm tired of being the one that always has to do the right thing. I'm tired of being the one that always has to rise above and be the better person. I'm tired of being the one that always has to go first to be the trailblazer. I'm fucking tired. It would be really nice if other people could meet me halfway, or they could show up in ways that I show up for them. I get it. I'm different. You're different. We're all different. I have a few people like that in my life, but I've had to let a lot of people go for the sake of my own well-being, because turns out I was surrounded around a lot of narcissists and I didn't even know what that was until a few years ago. Then I kept telling my therapist, when so-and-so calls, I get it. It's okay to be on the phone. I go, but my body tightens up. And he's like, oh, well, that's the CPTSD. You're not connecting the two. And I'm like, well, I need to freaking connect these two because this is bullshit. Then I started thinking, do you want to know when I abandoned my body and how sad? Do you want to know how sad long ago I abandoned her? I literally, I don't know, first time I got touched inappropriate when I was a kid. First time I got beat. Second time I got beat. Third time I got beat. You know, those things I detached when I was a kid. So the fact that my body has been screaming, I've had 35 surgeries, I have 5 autoimmunes, I deal with chronic pain, I have kidney stones. My body was screaming, going, bitch, we need you, come back. Like, what the hell? Yeah. Like, you can't disconnect from us. But I was like, later, sorry. I thought I never had to deal with that stuff. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. This is what not dealing with things and not cultivating a relationship to self gets you, is autoimmunes or ailments, because now scientists are saying they believe that autoimmunes and stored trauma come from stored trauma. So they believe that chronic pain, autoimmune, certain things come from stored trauma. That's a bunch of people walking around not having a relationship to self, not dealing with their own emotions. And then every doctor's like, well, I don't know why you have this. I don't know what's wrong. The other 2 weeks ago, I was in the ER. My kidneys were on fire. My liver was on fire. I was bawling my head off. ER for 8 hours. They didn't see a thing. It's been 8 hours. I finally go, listen, if I'm waiting out here, you did the ecography and the blood. What am I waiting for as a doctor? No. We're just waiting for one other test. Okay, great. Can I come pick it up later because I have work? She writes, she refused service. So in my mind, old Dena would have cried, would have been pissed, would have gaslit myself. No one ever hears you. This is bullshit. Oh my God. And I was like, what do they keep telling you? Stop going to the system. Everything you have is in you. If it's not finding it on the ecography, on the CT scan, and your liver is on fire, there's something emotionally going on, is what we're finding out. So I've been now forced to start somatic yoga because that helps release stored trauma.
Okay. Have you? Yeah. There's this book called The Body
Keeps the
Score. It's a very heavy one. It's a very long book. I don't think I can remember like more than 3% of it. That's just how deep and how much of it there is.
The Body Keeps the Score. It didn't start with you. What happened to you? You name it. I am deep in it. Like, dude, think of this. Like, I'm one of these kids. So when I came out of the womb, and I want to ask you if you came out of the womb knowing something. I used to say this with my old best friend, is I came out of the womb saying, I need more information, more information, more information. She came out of the womb saying, I need to see more, do more, see more, do more, see more, do more. We couldn't be more opposite. I am a seeker of information. If you tell me no, I need to know why. And it's not out of me being stubborn. It's, I need to know why so that I can go and try to fix it, or I can pivot, or I can do something. But so for me, it's not about what I'm feeling. Why am I feeling what I'm feeling? I've always been someone who does that.
Okay. Well, we're getting close to our hour here. So I'm going to bring it all the way back to intuition. And I'm going to tell you a quick story about intuition. I suppose it's intuition. So back in high school, right? I think it was like between third period or fourth period or something. I don't know. But just right before class was about to start, I felt this just intense sense of peeing, like my bladder was about to explode. So I'm like, okay, I think I'm gonna be late by a few seconds in class, but I can't hold it. I have to go to the restroom. So I book it to the restroom. I run in and I see someone that I knew in there just for a quick second. I'm like, hey, dude. And I tried to pee, and just that sense of peeing just was no longer there. It's like, that's really weird. Okay, well, went back to class. A year or so go by, and I am, I think I was in the hallway or something. I run into the same dude that was in the bathroom when I busted in there. He pulls me up to the side and he's like, hey, I don't mean to be, super weird or nothing, but a while back you just ran into the bathroom and you walked out like right away. I just want to say thank you for walking in there, because if you hadn't, I was about to unalive myself, right? And you just so happened to walk in the right second, and then and so that just never, I didn't go through with it. So I was flabbergasted. I was dumbfounded. I was like, it wasn't me, right? Like it wasn't of my doing per se. But whatever that intuition or whatever the force that is,
and it's
had
also,
back.
we're going to
So
connect the energy to it, right? Because the way your intuition was connecting you was to the energy of having to pee, right? And then that energy went away. So again, when we feel something, don't be afraid to feel it, because it's never permanent. But I have a similar situation where my dad had a girlfriend, and for a long period of time, and I was not her favorite, and she was not my favorite, and I think that was in my 20s. And I don't know why I called the phone to call her, of all people. And I just said, "Hey, Catherine, I just wanted to let you know, no matter what we're going through, I love you, blah, blah, blah." And then, by the way, that wasn't her name. I made up a name. And so then she told my dad, what made Dena call me? And my dad asked me, what made Dena, what made you call her? I don't know. I just had a sense that I should call her. Something kept telling me, call her. And she was about to unalive herself. And it's really crazy. I don't know why I did it, but energetically, I felt something, right? So imagine if we didn't get in our own way. Imagine if we got to be a little bit quiet and we got to learn to actually talk with our own self and our energy and our higher self. Imagine how much quicker we would learn and accelerate. Do you see? But it's not beneficial to capitalism and consumerism. But we're learning now that that's not the way the world's going. It's more about the way the world's going is we're going with our telepathy. We're going with how we all feel, and we think it's advancing, whether or not you want to believe it or not. It's here, meaning how you make me feel. So think about where the future is going energetically. I'm going to tell you, and then your currency, your character will be your new currency. So in the future, your character, how you made me feel, how you show up online, how you talk to people online, how you all digitally, whatever, it's all going, everyone's going to be able to feel how you make me feel, how you make others feel. It's all to where it's like, we better start cleaning up our act, because if I know I'm good if my currency is my character, for sure. But I know that other people have lots of work, and I still have lots of work. But I'm just saying, if your currency was your character and other people were going to look at your credit score, would you do and say the things that you've been doing?
Right. That's a very good place to stop there, Dena. But we have a lot of nuggets here that the audience is gonna walk away with. But just as a last comment here for you, can you touch on the role of gratitude? Oh, and also, well, actually, before you touch on that, has nutrition played a role into your but more specifically into your autism at all? Have you found anything?
Absolutely. And I will tell you. So I was vegetarian when I was 20. But then studying into autism and everything like that, I then became gluten-free, vegan, no refined sugar, and I stopped drinking alcohol. So
how are you able to be a vegan here in Italy?
Dude, when I tell you, it's like, hey, God, is this a sick joke? Like, you have me in the country where they have the best wine, the best cheese, the best this. I can't have any of it. It's like throwing an alcoholic into a bar. I'm going to show you. So with all of this, it's been a 5-year journey. So when I say, I'm going to show you a picture. With all of this, I've released, so this was me at the beginning of the journey, right? Okay. So with the diet and everything and all of that, I have released 85 pounds, which is about 50 kilos. I've still got about 20 more to go. They told me that I would be better if I did all of these things. And actually, I got worse. I have advanced rheumatoid arthritis, advanced fibromyalgia, and advanced osteoporosis. Nutrition is the number one key to all of this because I have kidney stones, because I have all these things. Do you know in all of the years I've been doing all things, no one ever told me about salt and sugar for kidney stones? Do you know, like, and then I was mad and I was like, but why am I mad? Is it your job that when I see you for 15 minutes once every couple of years to know what me to do for my body and my health, or is it my job? It's my job, but no one ever taught us it's our job. Go to your doctor, go pay this person, go pay that person. So what I've noticed with the autism and the ADHD is when I'm really clean, and especially the gluten, I have less brain fog. I have more clarity. I'm more consistent. I'm not as emotional. Okay. When I eat gluten, I used to tell the doctor, I would get this feeling like someone is throwing a 2x4 with nails in my back. Although I tested allergy testing, it says I'm not allergic to gluten. Okay, so the doctor's like, well, if the allergy test says it's no gluten, then you need to eat gluten. Well, am I going to trust you or my body? So for so long, I trusted and I did everything they said. Now I'm on a venture that I need to do everything that I say. So when I say clean eating, it's literally I'm not putting salt, not sugar, I'm oil. Anything I eat does not go in the refrigerator. Like I've had to change everything. But as you saw from the picture, it's not just a vanity thing. It's an energy thing. Yeah. I released a lot of that energy. And what I found underneath was little Dena going, where you been, dude? Is it safe to come out? On top of eating the junk, the crap. All of that stuff we're finding out keeps you addicted. So imagine giving that to an autistic ADHD person who has impulse control issues and who has, I hyperfixate on give them food that's going to make them addicted. They'll keep eating. So what I do is I also keep notes for anyone that's watching. Is the other day I wasn't feeling great and I look back, what am I doing different than I was doing before? I wasn't consistently getting up, doing what I usually do, eating the way I. So now I figured it out. But the Dena today with autism at 55 and ADHD and all of the ailments, you wouldn't know looking at me that I have 5 autoimmunes and I have had 35 surgeries and kidney stones, right? It's because energetically I've started connecting with myself, my body, showing up, talking to myself. I know this is an inside job.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, so that was a lot of good nuggets. I keep saying it. So yeah, let's finish it off with the role of gratitude. Because at least for me, it's like I'm often grateful that I'm able to pause and be grateful for the lifestyle that I live. But it wasn't always that way. So can you touch on the role of gratitude? Yeah.
Before, and we were talking about things being black and white, right? It goes the same for gratitude. If I'm not grateful for the things I already have, how would the universe know to give me more things to be grateful for? Right? If I'm not grateful for you and this exchange that we're having, how would I get more of these, or how would I connect? It's a matter of looking around and getting out of what they've told us to think of. Do I have enough? Abso-frickin-lutely. Are my friends kind? Are they good? I spend more time now going, I just want to let you know, I'm so proud of you and I love you so much. And it was awkward at first, but you know what the really cool thing is now my friends are starting to speak back to me. And so when I say them, they'll go, dude, I'm so proud of you. And it's not like they're trying to mimic me, but they've learned from my positivity, right? They've learned how to show up with gratitude, with the gratefulness. So I think people can feel, right, energetically, if we're going to bring it all around, right? If I'm going to feel your kindness and your friendship and you showing up for me as a friend in different ways than other friends I've had, I'm going to be grateful for that. So I'm going to fucking tell you. And I'm going to be like, dude, it is so nice to have a friend that shows up like I do. And you're the best. And I love how we connect. And I just love that you exist. And The incredible connection that just comes out of randomly saying that stuff. I will bake so much stuff, and I go around often to the pharmacy, all the stores. You know, Italians, they're not used to people just being nice for no reason. I don't want this. I don't need that. I'm not asking for anything. I'm just actually being kind and giving to you. Oh, and then they feel embarrassed or weird and they don't know. But I'm just basically saying, thank you for showing up so that I have a grocery store to go to and that I can get groceries at. Thank you for working a job at the pharmacy so that the pharmacy can be open and I have the meds that I need. That is the importance of a gratitude lifestyle. It's not just, I want to manifest, I want to be grateful for it. It's a lifestyle. It's continual. It's all day long. It never stops. I am grateful for whoever made these cups to keep my water cold, right? There is no end on what to be grateful for because you're going to keep getting more of what you're grateful for. Whatever you keep talking about, you're going to get more of what you're talking about, bad, good, and indifferent. So choose your topics carefully. Be very careful in this moment in time with everything going on in the world, what you consume. Because you become what you consume, right? You are who you hang out with. They say if you hang out with somebody who's jobless, overweight, and a drunk, most likely you'll be those same things in a year from now.
Yeah. You are the average of your 5 friends, they say.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like, I want everyone to use me as the barometer. I want to be the example because that's how much pride and love now I've learned to have for myself. With a practice of gratitude, right? That's me showing up for me about me.
Awesome. That is a very good place to stop there, to remember to show up for you for the sake of showing up for yourself, right? Not because you're trying to appease anybody.
If you don't show up for you, let me ask you, who's showing up for you?
Right.
My dad lives in California. My mom's deceased. My brothers and sisters I don't talk to. I don't talk to my ex-husband. Who's fucking... So wait. So in order for me to feel better about my life, I have to wait for you to show up for me so that you can confirm what I'm thinking or feeling is right or wrong? Fuck, what?
Right.
No. I'm going to show up for myself. Because that's what I came here to do. Remember who you are and what you came here to do.
Ending on a Simba note right there. Remember who you are. Dena, thank you so much for coming to the Moses Kabandana Podcast. This has been an amazing conversation. I need to expand the amount of time that I record the podcast for, because when a conversation like this is so engaging, it's like you wanna keep going. But I want to respect our hour here as we're coming up to the top of the hour. If people want to know more about you, where do they find you?
They can find me on social media. I'm Dena Paduano on Instagram, DenaPaduano. I'm at denapaduano.com for readings. If you want coaching or intuitive readings, you can message me, DM me. On TikTok, I'm Intuitive Coach Dena. And on LinkedIn, Dena Paduano. And YouTube, I'm Intuitive Coach Dena.
Intuitive Coach Dena. Well, happy Thursday to you. Thank you so much for dropping in. It's been a pleasure.
It was so nice to meet you. Yay!
Nice to meet you as well.